Mark, first and foremost, to lose at the weekend, a narrow defeat, how do you kind of look back at it?
I thought we got a response in terms of his defensive application. It's fair to say that, we're still not firing ball in hand how we'd like to. I thought the effort and commitment that the lads showed to each other were fantastic. We've just got to, work on his composure and his execution a little bit. I thought Toulouse managed that last 10 minutes of that game a lot better than us, and ultimately they managed to sneak that win. But tough loss. Obviously not how we wanted to start the year, but it's important that we keep level heads about it. And we've had some good quality training. We had a good honest review again last night, and we're all looking forward to getting out there in the 1895 Cup against Halifax.
It is a young group. Do you think they'll learn a lot from that game, not only from an experience point of view, but a bit of playing the conditions, but also, from a game management point of view as well?
Yeah, 100%. We'll, as I say, if we look where we were at against Oldham, I thought we put us fix-ups in terms of what we needed there. But ultimately, we're still coming up with too many, unforced errors, a bit of sloppiness in terms of his discipline with the penalties. And some of it you can boil down to lack of concentration or composure. So we just need to make sure that we keep on tweaking on that. But at the same time, it's interesting and good to see in a way that we're going through some adversity, and it'll stand us in good stead at back end of the year. I'm sure on that. I've got full confidence that we'll be firing soon, and it's just about keeping that level head and making sure that we're learning some tough lessons, and hopefully that should give us some confidence going into the second half of the season.
Certainly doesn't seem like you're too far away, and it was obviously strides better than the Oldham performance. Looking at the defensive side of things, it was obviously a much more solid performance, but are you still a little bit disappointed by some of the errors that led to their try?
Yeah, I thought both teams came up with quite a few errors, and you could argue that, were that due to the conditions or people's defence, that's not really for me to worry about, but we're coming up with too many errors, and I just think that last 10 minutes, I think if you look at the field position that we gifted to lose, it came off, 2 penalties. We had them trapped in their 20. We gave a penalty away there. Then we give another penalty away. Then we come up with an handling error. And, ultimately that's been the difference between the two teams. And I think the 5 minutes previous to that, we had chance to probably do what Toulouse did to us, and we just lacked a little bit of composure and clinicalness about us. So it's a valuable lesson to learn, but the most pleasing thing for me is how everyone's been honest about it and I suppose owned up. I had a good look at what I served up to. I don't know if I got my last 20 minutes of how we got his rotations right. I don't know if I should have moved Jesse out into that back row and put Cookie into that half back position just to give us a little bit more structure there, but ultimately it's all ifs and whats, isn't it? So a good lesson to learn for all of us, and looking forward to Sunday.
Yeah, talk us through the decision to start with Jesse D at that half-back place. Yeah. Was that just about being a bit more solid?
Yes, that's exactly that. We were just looking at tightening his defence up. We went with going with 2 points of attack. And we thought Jesse could do a job, especially with how Toulouse was set up with them missing a pivot themselves. We just thought we could offer that running threat. Jesse's put his hand up for the team, and that's purely on me, So I thought defensively it worked, and I just thought, not just Jesse, but I just thought his attack probably didn't fire how we wanted to, which could be a mixture of the errors we came up with and the conditions, and also Toulouse's defence. But it's, we're not far off. We know that it'll come, and we're working hard to make sure it comes as soon as we can.
Pleased to see Levi Edwards getting back on the score sheet as well after being back in the team.
Yes, Levi, he had a mammoth effort. I think he covered 10.9k, if I remember rightly, off starts, which was the highest out of anyone in the team. So he's put his hand up, to play on that wing. We had Kieran and Levi, obviously playing out wide. Both doing a job for the team, and the most pleasing thing for me is that there were no moaning. They just got on with the job, and they did that job to the best of their ability. So we've got some real good characters in the group that's got a lot of grit about them. So some tough lessons, as I said, that we're learning at the start of the year. But also, I'm pleased to see the sort of character that a few's got behind the scenes. Not only we out what they're showing on a match day, but also how they're going about fixing things up on the training days as well.
And also moving the centres out to the wing gave an opportunity for Jude Ferreira to get his first kind of run out. What did you make to his debut for the Knights?
Yeah, a couple of nice touches. Obviously, a couple of things that he can work on, but I think I said straight after game too, I think it's fair to judge players after you've given 5 or 10 games. I think you can't really judge someone on one game because they've not had a chance to kind of impose themselves. So, yeah, listen, it's good to see Jude back fit. Gives us another selection headache in them centres more than anything. So, yeah, glad that he's back in the mix.
And then looking ahead to this weekend, I'm guessing, does Liam Harris come back in after his concussion protocol?
Yeah, he trained last night. I think it was his last day in non-contact, so I think there's one more protocol he's got to pass. But as long as there's no issues there, he should be back into the mix for Sunday. Yeah.
And you also had some concerns after the match. I think Connor Fitzsimmons was one of those. Yeah. But how did the squad come through the weekend? Have you got any kind of concerns or any more players that are having to sit out this week potentially?
Yeah, we got a few bumps and bruises as most squads has. I think Connor, just to answer that one, he's just got a bit of fluid around one of his joints, so hopefully that's not as bad as what anyone thought. A couple of bumps and bruises, but at the same time, we've got lads. I didn't manage to get Taylor Pemberton on the field, so it'd be good to have a look at him and give him a fair shot. There's young Jack Potter that's still waiting for a game. With it being the cup too, it's good to maybe put some fresh faces in and see how they can go about their business.
I was going to say, with the kind of squad you've got, is the cup the chance to maybe give some of the fringe players a bit of a run out? And as you said, you're going to need this whole squad coming down the stretch in the Championship, haven't you? So I guess what better opportunity than to get some guys some game time?
Yeah, it's a valid point. I mean, they're probably only two that we could look at rotating at the moment with a few of the others out, but that's what I mean. It's about keeping that level head. Listen, whatever team we put out on Sunday, we're fully expecting to go out there and put in the performance that we all want. At the end of the day, I said at the start of the year, every competition we're in, we'll be aiming to go as far as we can. So yeah, Taylor and Jack will definitely be in my thoughts, and let's hope that we don't get any hiccups in training, and we'll see how things pan out on the weekend.
Joe Brown as well with a hip injury, is that a bit longer term than you initially thought?
Yeah, slightly. It's not as bad as we first thought. We thought it could be a few weeks, but I'm hoping he should start running back end of this week. I don't know if Sunday will come too early for him, but it's more just about the pain management for him. He had quite a lot of swelling, and it's in a pretty nasty spot around his hip area, so we've just got to let that settle down. So it should definitely be either this week or next, if I were a better man.
And any clarification on the situation with Akuma Tai as well? Has that moved on any? Or?
No, I'm just waiting to hear back, from the club when it's all sorted. But Akuma's training with us. He's still an integral part of that group. We're just waiting for some stuff to get sorted there. And the main thing is that we just keep Akuma as normal as we can. And listen, he'll be a massive boost when he's back in. He's training the house down. How he speaks, the presence that he's brought, especially for that younger end, is great. So he'll be a welcome addition when he's when he's able to play again.
And I know obviously you've got longer term injuries as you've kind of discussed, but I wanted to ask about Bailey Antrobus and how he's sort of coming along with his rehab as well. Yeah,
Bailey, I think he starts running next week or will be next month. He unfortunately got that ACL tear in the Welsh game after a few minutes. So I've just admire how he's gone about his rehab, how he's dealt with two back-to-back blows like that has been it's been really inspiring. So he's got through, I think, the most difficult stage now, which is that first 3 months where you tend to be by yourself and you're not out with the lads as much. He should be in and around the field sessions a bit more now. He's been in that gym doing what he can, and listen, Bailey's already a pretty strong boy, so I'd hate to think how strong he's got now, but it'll be good to see him get running and doing the basic warm-up with the lads and things like that, because he's an absolute champion guy.
Yeah. We've kind of briefly touched on the 1895 Cup.
Yeah.
Where do you view the competition in the grand scheme of things here?
Listen, we'll want to go as far as we can in the 1895 Cup. I think it's fair to say that the leagues have well, for me anyway, the league's everyone's focus. But I've never played at Wembley. I know the players, there's a lot of players that like to play at Wembley, so there can't be a bigger carrot than that. So listen, we're not using the 1895 Cup to give some players a week off to get ready for round 3. Ultimately, we've not won a competitive game yet this year, so we've got to make sure our zone standards where it needs to be first. So, there may be 1 or 2 other new faces in, but listen, we'll still be going out with the main focus is getting us performances where they need to be to make sure that we're clicking into gear for these next few months that are coming up.
And obviously you've got the same opponents for the next 2 weeks, Halifax Panthers in the Cup, so a chance to have an early look at them before you then face them in anger in the Championship game as well.
Yeah, listen, they've started really well. I think the 2 from 2, grinding a couple of good wins out there, and they've got some great players in the ranks. I actually played with Bobby Fairbank back when I was just at the back end of my career, so I know all about him. Adam Tangata, I coached at my previous club. I think they've just got some good quality players all throughout the ranks. So listen, we know it's going to be a tough game, but at the same time, it's one we're relishing and we're looking forward to.
Yeah, I don't think you played against Carl Eastman at the start of his career. I think you were kind of at the back end, and I don't think that you kind of crossed paths. Have you had much interaction with him as a young coach coming up through the ranks?
I haven't, no, but it's great to see. The more young British coaches that we get in the game, it can only be better. And he started really well. I wish him all the best, just not for the next 2 weeks.
And there's also the possibility of coming up against Tongan centre Conrad Hurrell again being in opposition. Currently on dual reg from St Helens. Are you surprised to see him drop to the Championship in search of more game time?
Well, no. If you look at some of the depth that Saints have got, I think it's probably a good move for both. It's better for Conrad that he's playing 80 minutes every week, getting his match fitness up, keeps him match sharp for St Helens when they will need him. And it's it's some good strike for Halifax to have. I remember coaching against him a couple of years ago, and the years before that, he's an handful, definitely ball in hand. And if you run straight at him, you know about it. So good addition to Halifax's team. Works out well for St Helens, and I think it's a win-win for both of them.
A major focus for your defence then at that big body in the centre's position. Have you got to think about who you play out there, or is it somewhat guided by who you've got available as well?
I think if you focus too much on one particular player, you get undone elsewhere. Listen, when Conrad's got the ball and he's got space around him, no matter who you are, putting a one-on-one tackle on, it takes some doing. So you've obviously got to account for that. But as I said, they've got some pretty good strike throughout the field. So we'll be trying to build on what we served up against Toulouse. I think the main lesson there is, I think if you can keep most teams to within 1 or 2 scores, you tend to be in a pretty good position to win the game. So we'll be aiming for that again, but it's fair to say we also need to improve with his own composure ball in hand as well.